So we're going to try this again and see if this can record. And let's do this. All right, so here we are. We're looking at cancer. Take a look at the way the notes go. This is kind of a progression. If you look at this picture versus this picture, what I want to do is talk about this, then kind of highlight this picture and talk about what happens when cancer spreads. So cancer notes, as this says, uncontrolled mitosis. It seems overly simplistic to just say, oh, it's uncontrolled mitosis, but that is what it is. The different types of cancers that we see, there's hundreds of them, they affect different types of tissue. So let's follow the progression of the notes. I'm going to mention one thing here and then kind of elaborate down here. So uncontrolled mitosis leads to a tumor formation. What's a tumor? It's a misshapen mass of cells. And what that mass of cells can do is it can cause a loss of structure and function. When you lose your shape, your structure, then it's going to affect your function. This can cause what's called cell death. Another way of saying that is called necrosis, cell necrosis. I'm not going to write that on there, but I'll just point out here. Okay, so let's dig deeper here. So when we say the mass of cells increase mitosis compared to the normal rate of those cells. So, and here's what happens. It takes away nutrients from the healthy cells, and this is what can kill them. So there's two things going on. You're losing possible structure and function because you're losing healthy cells because they're being replaced by cancerous cells, but then the healthy cells that are there are also going to be they're going to risk being damaged, or they're going to lose nutrients, because a cell that divides at a faster rate is going to require more energy, it's going to require more nutrients, it's going to require all the raw materials that are necessary for metabolism of the cell, So lastly, cancerous or malignant, they're kind of the same thing. Well, when we say a cell is cancerous, that's because it's at the point where it is growing and spreading, and we use this term metastasis to say that a cell, the cancer has metastasized, versus benign. Benign is maybe the cells are growing at a faster rate, but it's containable. It has not spread. I can't emphasize this enough. Early detection can save your life, and this doesn't mean it will save your life. You have a greater chance of being able to fight it off. Cancers are more difficult when they're in the latter stage because of metastasis, and we'll see why in a moment. So let's look at this page. So here's some cells. They're growing, and these cells, when they come into contact with each other, we use the word contact inhibition. This over here says density dependent inhibition, but basically when cells touch other cells, it's going to trigger them to not divide unless something happens. So here we've taken out some cells, and those cells, maybe they're damaged, or they die. Those cells are damaged or they die, and that triggers these other cells to divide and replace them, so that you never lose a loss of structure or function. So this is what the normal cell should be doing. But then the cancer cell, once this contact inhibition happens, they don't stop dividing. They don't adhere to the cell cycle, and then they grow and grow and grow, and this is what happens. So let's look at the cell cycle for a second. When people say this causes cancer, that causes cancer, our base definition is uncontrolled mitosis. So this cell, say this cell is going through the G1 phase, literally is a barrier here that says don't divide, it's not time. And what the cancerous cell does is it ignores that barrier. It ignores the normal cell checkpoints. We have checkpoints here. There's a checkpoint here called, there's actually one down here. There's a mitosis one. There's one within there called the M1. There's these checkpoints help regulate the cell cycle. So let's look at metastasized cells. So here's your picture of breast cancer. This is the tumor. this tumor is going to expand. So this is the increasing in cells. They're growing at a faster rate than the rest of the tissue. When metastasis happens, that's where this, you look over here, see it's kind of jumped over here. Bits of these parts break off and get into your circulatory and your lymphatic system. That's when the cancer can spread if you follow these arrows here. So what I want to do is just go back and give, you can pause the video at various points. So pause it here. The next couple slides are from AP textbook. There are some they go into greater detail, so I'm just going to put each one. I'll say pause and move on, or pause it when you see each one. So this just starts at the beginning, restating that we're bypassing the cell cycle, the controls of the cell cycle. So I'll pause it, let you read through here. Pause it here. So I'm going to go back and leave off with this. And that pretty much is the bare bones description of what cancer is. We're going to obviously have class discussions to talk about treatments and what exactly does it mean to say early detection.